Hey everybody. 2 days in a row, we're going to talk about some set 11 blue cards.
Yay, blue,
Yeah, no,
blue, blue,
we
blue.
hinted at it a little bit yesterday, but today we got me and Dane again,
Yo,
and this time we got Devin, who was in
Hey,
our set 10 blue discussion. I'm pretty sure that was it, right? Yeah.
yep.
this is definitely more Devin's wheelhouse though, with control as opposed to Zamasu mid-range aggro.
Yeah, I would
Great
agree.
control player.
Oh, thank you.
hmm
No slug though.
No,
Next
no,
set.
yeah, this
Next
is not
set.
hand control. Devin, you don't have to ask how many cards are in hand. Baby doesn't care.
Baby doesn't
You're
care.
just negating everything.
No.
But to be fair, we're not going to start with Baby because he has a lot more support. We're going to start with Vegeta, SS4 from the Shadow Dragon Saga. Ooh, ah.
Is this our first? This is one of our like along with the green one. These are like our first Vegeta leaders in quite some time in main sets.
Yeah, we don't count Draft Box Vegeta.
Like our yeah, that
The
one's
the all
yikes. And
colors
even then,
Vegeta.
that was a year ago now. That was 11 months ago, October
Ah, yeah, crap. We've been
I
dealing with
mean,
2019.
Draft Box for a year. Gross.
it has been a long time since we've seen a blue Vegeta leader that's actually playable.
That's true. You were on that crit Vegeta, weren't you, back in the day?
I was until I realized that Cell just draws more cards.
See.
But
Uh,
yeah, I knew a lot of people that played blue Crit Vegeta even after the Evolve Awaken ruling change. Then people were still on it.
yeah, this one, I, I think like okay, so we're at that weird point because we're a little behind because 2 colors a week was rough.
hmm
And we did some testing, but I don't think we tested this one too much just because it's
I have played against it twice, and I have played with it once.
how did
But
is it
I
scary to you?
scary is the wrong word.
Yeah.
But what matters is that this leader is one that, for the rest of the game's lifespan, at least for the foreseeable future, right, probably the next year or so, we have to keep an eye on this card. As long as they print good blue cards that cost energy to play, this leader will see some sort of relevance. I looked at it that this is one of the healthiest ways they could implement ramp. And I think this was a really good idea on their part because one issue that we had with ramp is that you notice that ramp led to like hardcore ramp led to degenerate strategies that did not interact with your opponent, where you simply negated everything for the turn and then you just tried to get to X energy to play a boss monster that single-handedly won you the game.
Yeah.
Bandai has been moving away from those types of boss monsters, hence why you haven't seen anything as powerful as like Gogeta 7, Android 21 Violent Predator. We haven't seen those cards since they kind of started to slow that down.
Yeah, I think the
And
last
this
strongest boss was besides 21 just because banned for the monocolor hate was
Mhm.
the Kaioken red green Goku that just like wins the game if you play him.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, at these days, the only cards that you can smack down that like absurdly win the game on their own are secret rares, which is probably how the game should be built. Um, but what I really think is good is that interactivity that this card basically says, hey, I'm going to attack you as a normal leader, right? You're 10 to 10 first turn. If you're willing to start a card down, I will not be ramping. And by all intents and purposes, you could just prevent this leader from ramping ever in a game. And you're playing a normal game. But the issue is that that costs cards. And if you have to combo out of every leader swing in a color that doesn't hit you very often, that means you're not getting awoken, you're seeing even less cards, and it just puts you at a really big disadvantage because if the game then gets elongated anyway, Vegeta has more cards than you, and you're not going to beat that when they smack down Obunis and Android 17s.
I think
I
a
think
nice little balancing thing with this Vegeta his Awaken is just draw one. So kind of
that's
like a
good.
little Raditz effect, and then the because he ramps fast,
I think it could have been a
it
draw
could.
two, or at least I think they could have given it an alternate awakening of if you're at like 5 energy.
Yeah, but then
Um,
our next card would just be kind of meh. It
I
already
mean,
is pretty meh.
I was gonna say it's already pretty bad.
Yeah.
But the leader's backside, like I think this is such a well-designed leader, like from the thought process to how they decided to like choice in like your opponent ramping, and then the backside getting the counter skill to restand means that you basically always have the opportunity to just swing with your leader first. There are still times when that's not best, right? Yellow or certain matchups are going to have different types of matches, but man, this leader is a really strong one that we're just going to watch for. And I think it's just so I cannot get over. This is maybe the best designed card in the game, from like a competitive player to skill intensive. How people play against this leader is going to tell you a lot about the player. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I think just one thing like I just keep in mind, like it's really fairly designed, but then if it's very fair, then it might not be super good competitively just because it's not
Mhm.
busted. But like you said, because it's ramping and it's blue, and we already saw just like throwing Zeno into some decks, even just like kind of like quote breaks it. Like it's you gotta be wary of it. Like what's gonna happen in the future? Like whatever cards get printed as like a 3 or 4 costs are just gonna be like, does this get broken in Vegeta?
That being
Mhm.
said, as far as playing a fair game, we've seen very fair decks go very well in competitive scenes like Red Pan.
Hmm. Yeah, because fair can also lead to consistent, and consistent always does well.
Right.
As long
But
as it just has the right tools. Like right now, the deck's biggest issue is still going to be the same issue Blue has had basically since Gogeta was banned, or like before decks couldn't just jam Gogeta in there, is that there's no way to win the game. You have Obuni who like
uh-huh.
sets up the win, right? He might cost your opponent a couple cards. He might like set you up in just a really good position. But Android 17 is kind of the only way to win the game
Yeah.
outright, but that's only if you have a board. Otherwise, you just swing Android 17, okay, single strike crit, and then you swing it to your leader, single strike. Like that's 7 energy to do 2 life when your opponent could have a board, could have a leader skill.
Yeah. I do have one question with this guy because I just rereading it as it's up here on screen.
Mhm.
When it deals, oh, it's once per turn, so never mind. I was gonna
Yeah.
say what happens if you give it double strike, but because it's once per
Nothing.
turn, it'll just be the
You'll
one
deal
time.
yep, because you deal damage one
Yep,
at a time.
yep, never mind. I found my own answer, and then there you go for everyone else who's thinking the same thing. Double strike doesn't matter.
Not like Beerus, not a permanent.
Right. All right. Ready to move on to the little self-awakening engine?
Yeah.
Super Blitz Wave
But
Generator field. Gets played by this Bulma. If you play her for one, you just play it.
draw a card.
I draw a card. Did you draw a
He
card
pulls
too?
the
No, it draws a card.
no. Yeah,
Yeah.
draws it.
Yeah,
A lot of cycle. Deck thinning is deck winning, right?
right. So, like, what happens is you activate main, look at top card, right? No, you place the top card of your deck under the leader. And then once there's 4 more, you send it to the drop. Add 2 cards from your life to your hand. Place 2 cards from your life to your drop. It's all up to. So you can get you to 4 if you're playing super defense. You can play more than one Super Blitz Wave a turn and keep adding more, which I kind of think is what the Bulm was for and stuff.
I agree that that's probably what its intention is.
Yeah, but it's still
Wait.
kind of
I'm
weird.
sorry. What was that thought?
Oh, you can play Blitz Wave or Bulma, activate main, play another one, activate main, because it only checks if there's 4 underneath the leader.
Oh, I
I thought
suppose.
I thought it was putting it
Basic
under the field before, but
Yeah, basically if you have two Wife of the Prince and one At Her Husband's Side in your hand, turn one, you're awakened on turn two.
yeah,
Because turn one you can play Wife of the Prince, active main, and then on the next turn, active main, play another Wife of the Prince, active main, Bulma at her husband's side, drop her, put her last card, awaken.
and just to point out real quick, we do because today the tournament pack cards were revealed. We just threw them in here because it just makes it easier to talk about the decks. And then like, we'll kind of touch about when we do our tournament pack thing at a later date, but we just threw them in because it's here.
Well,
Might
especially
as well bring it up.
blue.
Yeah.
This is this is the archetype in probably the whole thing. The other cards might be better, but like Vegeta, these cards were not good enough on their own to do anything. But now that we have At Her Husband's Side, 2 Wife of a Prince and At Her Husband's Side on turn 2 is not asking for a lot. Or Super Bloodwave, because you could just like play it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's really not asking a lot, because you're probably going to run 3 Blitzwave and 4 Wife of the Prince and then 4 At Our Husband's Side. And that's just all deck filtering.
Yeah. And then At Her Husband's Side, it's not even a bad just drop because you get to
I mean,
tutor
it's
top
I suppose
seven.
every
so.
single one of these cards replaces itself in hand. So,
Yeah. Yep. So not like maybe like people play with it, maybe just like for fun, play with it. Maybe set 11 store championships, play with it, see how it feels.
I would bet in store 11 champs, this is going to be really good.
Yeah, just awaken as fast as possible.
Mm-hmm.
My one big complaint is this is Shadow Dragon Saga at Her Husband's Side, but it's Planet Tuffle behind it, and it confuses me. But maybe just oversight. But
I don't know.
Whatever.
I thought that he didn't need the Blitzwave after he did it the first time. I thought he needed it to go the first time, and then after that he could do it at will. But
Oh
I guess
yeah,
maybe I haven't
this
seen
is
these
the
in a long time.
first time he does it is Shadow Dragons. He doesn't go Super Saiyan 4 during the Baby Saga.
Oh yeah, that's right, because Goku goes Super Saiyan 4 for the first time.
Yeah, correct. The Bloodswaves were used to get him into an 8 form.
I recall.
All right.
Cool.
Moving on. The rares for the deck.
These
we got
cards have Devin written all over them.
yeah.
I see him wanting to just kill someone's
I
energy and
mean-
not letting them play.
I guess.
You built a Goku Black deck in set 8 with despair before like any actual ramp was out. You were just like, how do I kill someone's energy and not let them play the game?
Yeah, that's fair.
It's
All
fine.
right.
You can take these.
So with SS4 Sun Goku Energy Annihilator, 30k unique blocker for 7. When this card is played, opponent plays one of their energy at the bottom of their deck. And at the end of your turn, switch this card to active mode. Then your opponent chooses one of their battle cards and one of their energy placed at the bottom of their deck in any order. So that's 2 energy gone right away on the turn you play it, assuming no responses. And yeah, it's still just a 30k beater or 30k blocker to keep you alive if you're just looking for that attrition.
And because at the end of the turn you switch to active mode.
Yeah.
Both.
So it's really cool.
and-
It's they kept the rares being the boss monsters again. So that's nice to see because we have a lot more super rare battle cards this time.
Yeah, I really like that with these recent sets because it means that without super rares, you're still able to play an engine. And I think that's true of every deck in this set except for Baby and
Probably
Garlic,
this
I believe.
one. Oh, and Garlic,
Gotenks
yeah.
too.
But
Gotenks
it's
needs
only
the 5
one SR you really need from the set,
Yeah.
Exactly.
and the Unison. But Unisons.
Long term though, this set will not hold the same value set 10 will.
Right,
No,
they're not
and
generic.
I think that's okay though.
Mm-hmm. It's
Anyway.
okay to have sets like that.
Anyway, yes, SS4 Son Goku is pretty brutal.
Hey, he's a 110k.
Yeah,
It is the one in the
Which
color
is
that
nice to have
actually
again.
needs. Yeah. I'll say
The-
2 things that I dislike about this card. One is your opponent chooses energy. Hitting their active mode would be a lot stronger and honestly probably still fair. And 7 is just, I think it's 1 more energy than I would be willing to pay. I think this was a 6 cost. I think I would pay it pretty without a doubt. 7 is just a little high.
Assuming
even if you're
you've
ramping.
Assuming you've ramped every turn and
you
you
haven't
went
done now.
seconds, you're doing this at the start of turn 4, which I think is fine.
But that's assuming you've ramped every turn.
Yes.
Your opponent
You
negates.
could
the block.
ramp twice
whatever.
when you awaken as well.
How?
If they activate
You
a
swing with your
counter.
lead, you ramp, you awaken, they
Oh!
counter, you untap, swing again.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, sure. It's super unlikely,
Yeah.
but like possible.
I still think it's a nice card. I guess my biggest problem with it is green is going to be very popular, and it is a very easy target to freeze a counterplay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's also the issue. It frees a counterplay. It doesn't have deflect. This one could have. I feel like this one could have had deflect, as long as it didn't have barrier.
Well, deflect wouldn't change the
Oh,
freeze a
you're right.
counterplay.
As long as okay, it could have
No, but
barrier. The trunks
but
though.
it would prevent you from tapping 7 for nothing. At least then you're tapping 7 and popping an energy.
That's fair.
If they trunks it back to your hand,
Yeah.
you're just kind
As long
of
as they have one or the other, just so like it has a better chance at surviving some against matchups.
But without either, it's kind of hard. Like even if you've ramped into it and you're doing this, like say, let's even say you've reached the dream where you have ramped every turn. You ramped twice on turn 2, so that you're doing this at the end of turn 3. Even then, it's a lot if they have any answer for it.
Mm-hmm. And now that every deck has access to Max Kamehameha,
Yeah.
it's tough.
Well, no, because you're going to be hard casting this. Max Kamehameha won't
Oh,
hit it.
true. Nah, but chances are if you Zeno into it though, if you Zeno into it,
I mean, yeah,
You could run Zeno.
that's if you're playing Zeno.
regardless. But there are
Yeah.
still so many cards that are just like and blow this up and blow something up.
Right.
It's okay. I do not think it will see very much play. And I think if you look at it, most of that's just going to come down to the fact that you're trying to win the game the turn before you played Obuni. Are you really trying to play this dude over Android 17?
I don't
That's a
think so.
Fact.
Like what when are you going to do that? Like if your opponent has no cards in hand, it doesn't matter if they have energy. But there are a lot of decks that are low to the ground. Like what does killing an energy do to Gotenks or to Green Vegeta? They just keep going.
Right.
Killing their hand though.
That's
Killing their
always
hand?
fun. But
Hot.
It's not effective enough, I don't think.
yeah.
But yeah, moving on to Vegeta Ready to Rumble. 4-drop blocker, counter attack, negate the attack, play this card. Auto, when this card is played, your opponent can't attack for the turn unless they place one of their energy in their owner's drop area. I think this card is awesome. Being able to effectively stop 2 attacks by negating attack and then being a blocker, and also putting in a nice floodgate on your opponent for each energy, I think that's pretty huge.
Yeah, we're pretty
think-
sure they're doing a changing of wording with all these newer floodgates, where Topo said for each attack, and now they're just saying
Can't attack unless.
for the turn unless. So it's not just like they can't attack for the rest of the turn unless they do it once. It's every time they attack.
That is, I would be shocked if they didn't intend for that. I just really think it's okay. Like, I think it has its warrants, and I think mid game it's better than Topo. But
Yeah.
the issue is that Topo can stop someone from winning the game that turn, and I don't think this card does that.
No, because they just pop the energy that's
Like
rested
if
that
they're
you use. And
Yeah.
exactly if they're already in, they're in.
Yeah, because it's gonna stop an attack. They're gonna eat an energy to get one more swing. It's gonna block. It's gonna eat that attack, and then they'll have to so it's gonna eat at least 2 energy, ideally.
At the end, yeah.
It's just that if the game is ending that turn regardless, then it's hard to justify.
Yeah.
Still a good card, especially because they gave it to Vegeta, I guess, because they're like, oh, well, you'll ramp and then you'll do it. But the whole point of ramping is that way you can play battle cards that are broken like faster, not so that way you can defend better.
Right.
Yeah.
I honestly think this card is better just as a 3-drop in baby.
Yeah.
But even then, there's so many good negates in baby. It's tough to argue this card's place.
And this
in
guy
there.
can easily be counterplayed, which would suck for 4 on your opponent's turn.
Right.
Cool. The bosses, other bosses of the deck, or a big utility of the deck. We got the pre-errata Son Goku Power of the Golden and Great Ape.
If this card wasn't errata, this would be the best card in the turn pack.
This card would be the best card in the game. What are you talking about?
It would be so good.
You just always have Great Ape Goku ready for blue.
Soul Striker's new friend.
So just so everyone knows, it is 2 specific blue and 2 other energy to draw 2 cards once per turn. for the activate main. And then the -4 activate main, instead of shuffle 5 mono blue cards to from your drop to your deck, it's shuffle 1. That one I don't really understand why. I feel like 5 is pretty
I
fair.
think, yeah, I mean, but it's tough. I think blue is the color, and Devin can attest to this as someone who also plays blue. Blue is the hardest color in the game to get Sparking 5, without a doubt.
Without specifically running burst effects or anything like that, yes.
Okay.
Like, it is tough.
Hitting Sparking 5 for D Magic means you've probably already spent at least 1 D Magic that you just had to actually pay for.
And specifically, like, Baby cannot get there. You will play Baby, and your turn 4, you'll be on turn 4, and you'll have 1 card in your drop area.
I
That's
guess
because all your negates are
Bodies.
board presence.
Yeah,
Which
and they all
is,
go
like,
servant.
good. And then they all have servants, so, like, they're not even, like, place and drop, it's bottom tech. But
I could see that if like maybe it was like some late testing they decided to switch it because of course 2 for draw 2 every turn is stupid. Definitely in a ramp deck.
what do you mean?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
totally
right.
fine.
Mana sinks. If it was if you're comboing every turn with your Vegeta swing to get that damage through, to get more ramp. That's maybe where they saw it, but then of course you just negate or block or whatever. Other than
Mhm.
that, the +1, Dane, why is that +1 so
Oh,
good? You've been
okay,
talking about it all
so
day.
yeah, I don't. Okay, leaders that draw more are good because why, guys? What is good about drawing another card?
I mean, card advantage wins games.
Card advantage wins game. Games are won and lost on singular card advantage. This card is a turn over turn effective 2-card advantage on top of the fact that it has an active main to draw more cards. In particular, this leader that we just finished talking about with SS4 Vegeta, if he is a 20k, your opponent will take that hit and you will ramp. Your opponent they were like, we saw a UI Kamehameha buyout because the leader can make really good use of that card. But this Unison makes even better use of it because it is a always 10k, it costs you no energy, and it keeps up a Unison that you can still keep Trunks active for. 10k. Also, Zamasu. Come on, guys. 25 dual double? Draw 2? That's so good.
Nah, there's something
And
else instead. Like they'll still run
it's
Zeno, and then there's the. We'll get to the
the
baby Trunks later. That
but
combo's stupid.
that's the thing though, is that this is more consistent.
It is.
I might not necessarily be trying to tap 5 to get the counter. Like, I probably will, but like, if you couldn't afford that and like the tournament packs were more readily accessible, we'll see how they do. Bandai, please. 2 energy to make a 25 dual double, like,
Oh, this
man.
guy's
I mean,
actually have 15k. Also, I just realized.
yeah, like
It's
he's
a solid.
good.
It's a solid Unison actually. He got some
This,
bulk.
Yeah.
I think this is the default blue Unison if you're not playing like good cards anymore. This and Zeno are still just so generically good.
All right. SS4 Goku. This is the SR in the set. Also has a very probably one of the best looking
Oh,
SPRs in the set.
I would say the only better SPR looking SPR in the game is like the Goku Legendary or Final Showdown. Like this card is like, it's almost obnoxiously beautiful because the fact that all cards could be like that is a testament to the fact that they aren't.
Yep. So it has an auto where it floodgates. Cause okay, so first off, he's a specific cost of 5, so he has to come
So
down for
high.
5. But it's the ramp deck, so it's okay, I guess. When this card is played during your opponent's next turn, they can't attack unless they choose one of their battle cards with a cost of 2 or more and place it on their deck.
Oh man, if only that was going to stop me. I have a full board. What are you gonna do about it, Dominic?
Yeah, AOD is gonna have some okay time with that. They missed out on one swing.
No. Read your -2.
Oh, you're -2? Oh, yeah, choose all your opponent's battle cards to your barrier. Oops. Never mind.
So
Doesn't work.
So your opponent has to get this, right? If you play this Goku for 5 and you -2,
He
he'll
still
bounce
has.
everything and then you floodgate.
He still has 3
But you're also
counters.
gonna have a Trunks in hand as well, which means that your opponent's going to spend energy, try to play the first battle card, and then you'll Trunks back to hand. And then they're going to try to play a second battle card, and then they have to play a third battle card that is at least a cost of 2, so that way they can get rid of it to attack with the other battle card.
Ew.
So effectively, your opponent is not swinging with battle cards next turn.
Yeah, you
And
basically
so
just like put a wall up with just one
if you
card.
just D-magic into all too easy or D-magic into whatever, like you're golden. This card's very good. I don't think it's broken, but I think Vegeta will probably play it at like 2 or 3.
Oh, for sure. I think it's pretty good. The -1's even pretty good.
I
Draw
think
2,
the
bottom
-1.
1.
I think you wouldn't want to use the -1 unless you're planning on winning that turn.
I
Personally,
agree.
because I think you'd want to use the -2 on play because that just resets your opponent.
Yeah.
But then the next turn, let's say you can't win the next turn, but you've also kind of held their board. I probably wouldn't use any abilities. I'd just leave it. And then maybe the next turn either reset their board again if it's still up, or just -1 to draw 2, bottom 1.
I think it's
Mhm.
okay to still do it because we'll see another card in a little bit. And I'll explain why I think that card's actually pretty good in this deck, but
I really just think it's pretty okay. I see it seeing play in Vegeta. The issue is that again, 5 energy is a really high amount, and you won't establish sparking 5 soon enough. So you wouldn't play this until you're at 6 energy. But by the time you're at 6 energy, you can play this other card.
Assuming Dark Broly ends up being a deck to beat, this just stops them dead.
It does do very good against them.
Because everything they do is 1 or a 6, and it's not easy for them to just pump out their 6 drops.
Mm-hmm.
And also, once they play a 6 drop, they can't play that same one again for the turn.
oh, that's true.
And if you Trunks 1 back, yikes.
All right.
So, but then this last one,
Vegeta.
you've played the most Beerus ramp here, right, Devin? I don't think it's a lot.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
you've
I'd say
played
so.
it the most.
I think him
Then,
and Josh.
Yeah. So give
I
me
played
kind
more
of
mono blue ramp. Josh pushed the blue green so far.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Josh was in our I think he was our set 10 black if you all forgot or don't know who we're talking about. But he's another locals guy.
So, but what do you guys kind of think about this guy? Like, I see it being good, but right now, again, the blue issue is having all that energy can only do so much.
Right. What are you ramping towards? Like this is you're at 6 energy and you ramp
If this isn't what you're right. If this isn't what you're ramping into, I don't know what you're doing unless you're just hard casting like Zamasu or
I was about to say, might I recommend the old man set 2 SR Zamasu.
It
That's
just
pretty
wins the
good.
game.
That's
That'd be
actually
pretty
not
so
bad.
much. He does so much.
Okay.
Card in hand, because it's card in hand, energy, battle card, life, all
yes.
to the bottom of the deck,
Yeah.
and then he's a 30k.
So that is probably what you'd ramp to or Goku Oob, World Martial Arts.
Oh,
Yeah, I think I'd
Respect.
rather play Goku Oob.
Both pretty good. Or, you know,
the blue secret rare that we'll get
Blue
this set,
Secret Rare
probably.
bet we're probably gonna get this set. Yeah. It's probably
That
gonna be
too,
for
whatever
Vegeta.
that is. Ideally, it'll win the game on play, and you'll have to hard cast it.
I'm not saying it's broken, but let's just say if I hard cast Fu the Dark Banisher.
Does he have to be overwhelmed for his effect to work though?
No, it's just permanent.
It's a permanent.
And
Oh.
he's only 8 to play. I've actually hard cast him with Beerus before. It's
Gross.
great.
But you only ramp when cards are mono blue. So
Right.
every card that you put in your deck that isn't mono blue
Hurts.
is a miss.
Yeah.
So you won't even like you're kind of like almost don't want to run Goku Apes or anything like that
I
either.
th-
No, I would not.
I think you could reasonably run 2 black cards or 2 off-color cards, and that'd be it. And I would only run black cards because they'll win you the game. Goku Apes will not win you the game.
Right. Plus we got this Goku Ape, Golden Ape, which is fine.
Yeah.
Hmm
Add a turn switch, so he's 30k, and then he restands
Same thing
blocker.
as the Goku. He's 30k, and then he restands
Yeah.
to take a hit.
Worst case, you're drawing. You can draw 4 cards also.
Yep.
Like you're just
Um,
drawing 4 cards. You're looking at 4 cards. You put them in your energy or your hand if they're all mono
Which
blue.
6 energy, draw 4. The game has to have an opposite effect of diminishing returns, where it's like expanding returns. Or yeah. So the more energy you sink, you don't get more. You have to keep it that way, which is pretty fair still. But this, I think, is the prime example of a card that should have had deflect.
Oh,
Yes.
yes, please.
This card should have had deflect because if you tap 6 and a Trunks or Cold Bloodlust or Frostedly Poison or whatever new cards I'm sure will come out in the coming sets that negate skills of bigger cards, you'll lose the game instantly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we'll see. I think I'm probably gonna try this deck out. It looks fun. You can do a lot of shenanigans with blue and
It's
ramping.
what I think is really neat is how open it is.
Right. It's like There's been like 1 per color, I think, this set, except red, where one of the card decks were pretty open, like SS4 Xeno Goku, Gohan Icarus, or Higher Dragon, sorry, and Majin Vegeta is pretty open.
No, Majin Vegeta's got so much going on. What? It's
The
got the
the,
Boo
the
Chain and the
but you don't have to run either.
that's
You could run just the Boo Chain or run just the
um,
Servant Chain and just throw in green good stuff. Or that leader's just a good green leader.
mhm.
I
I
mean,
just think the go ahead, Devin.
going back to, I mean, yeah, this has become a little off topic, but going back to the set 1 blue Vegeta, it's along the same vein, plus 5k and a keyword for a life.
Mhm.
Oh, with the Majin Vegeta, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well,
But
cool. Anything on
I think
the SRs? Last
I think
remarks?
Vegeta's so close to being good.
Yeah.
The SR.
No, it's
I
good. I think it's so close to being broken.
I don't know, but I don't think it'd be broken though for 6. Like again, even on a perfect ramp strategy,
That's
you
turn
can
3.
prevent it.
Yeah, but if you couldn't
Perfect
prevent it,
with Zeno, it's turn 3. But
yeah,
like you have to. The whole point of the monologue I went on when we were talking about the leader is how much choice your opponent has in it. So if you're afraid of like your opponent drawing cards to like have more power with Vegeta rather than just like playing under a Booney or something,
right.
then you can just not let your opponent ramp.
That comes to counterplay, like changing your game plan, because now you are going to be trying
Hmm
to combo out of your opponent's swings every turn, and not taking your opponent's leader
Again,
swings at all.
I'll measure how good of a player you are based off of how you play this deck, how you defend against this deck, and how you build this deck. And I know that
Right.
sounds like really like, wow, duh, those are the 3 things that make you a good player. But like, I guess I don't really know how
this
to
deck isn't
explain it
very
there.
linear.
It's not linear and it doesn't build itself. It's
Yep.
not like, oh, just grab 4 of every card in the archetype, good to go. It's not Sin Shenron, right? So I'm gonna
Well,
respect the heck out of anyone who breaks it.
all right. Moving on. The junk drawer of blue. We'll start with the SS3 Goku SR. He goes with kind of the same vein as the red SR Bardock BR and the green Majin
Green
Vegeta.
and the Piccolo, because they're all intended
Right.
to
And
interact with
Piccolo,
unison cards.
because Piccolo can negate the unison card. This one, it's counterattack for 2. It can't get any lower than 2 because 2 Pacific Blue. You negate the attack, choose 1 blue unison card in your unison area or drop, and you return it to your hand. So it lets you recycle unisons. Like if they have a good on-play effect, like SS4 Goku,
Mhm.
and he doesn't plus at all, This just lets you like have a way to reuse it.
Yo, deadass. This is the worst SR since Set 9 Jiren.
You
And it's
think so?
really not close. It's really not good.
I think
I don't.
it just like it does combo-y stuff and like gets you resources. So we'll see it depending on like what blue
Well,
unisons come out.
it seems like its intention is that there's blue has more than any other color big unisons with lots of minus effects that you would like to be able to recycle. But if you cast Gotenks for 4 or you cast Super Saiyan 4 Goku for 5, how are you going to have 2 energy up to also play this card and bounce it back?
Dimension magic.
Cool. Again, coming back to the same thing we've said 3 times. Sparking 5 is really hard in blue.
Right. I think there's ways. Blue has a lot of weird ways to restand a lot of energy.
I don't see myself really ever playing this card.
No, yet. I think there's a unless kind of clause going on.
It's
Haha,
just it is
unless.
really niche,
Unless.
but I don't think a card with this like narrow of usage should be an SR.
I
Well,
agree.
it's kind of like how they
This is how
all
you end
are.
up with.
That
Well, but
that
even
whole
no,
cycle. But only Vegeta I think is the only really good one.
I would argue Piccolo is great too.
Piccolo's
He's still
pretty
called
good
Bloodlust on anything 4 or less.
for 3. But
For
no,
2.
2.
Two.
2 if you have mono yellow leader.
2 if you have a yellow leader.
Okay. So
Which is
then
5.
Vegeta just like kills a unison, which is great. Bardock,
And then
I
Bardock
think,
one day will be broken.
right,
One
because
day
he just
Bardock will be broken.
adds 3 markers to a unison.
Yeah.
Did Black have anything in the cycle? I don't think it really did.
No.
No.
Okay, never
Black
mind then.
doesn't get good unison stuff because they're trying to be really careful with the fact that you don't have a specific cost. Which is fine.
It's true. But it's hard to splash those black unisons into other decks. Like if you want to
That
run like Kid Q or the juniors in like red hit, let's say, because skill is support, you don't get access to anything like Yamcha or Wolfang Fist.
hmm you lose the generic of 1 cost loses you access to the other unison plus sides.
Yeah, it just sucks.
Mediocre card. Could get silver foiling. I think silver foiling looks great. We have a lot of gold in this game. And I think it'd be okay if they started doing some cards with silver, but this one will just it looks like the outside of the rays will be gold. Be way cooler if the
Yeah.
insides were silver.
I still think this one could go somewhere, but definitely right. I think as of right now, it's the weakest one.
Can we talk about the best card on the page? Like maybe
Yeah.
one of the best cards in blue.
All right, Oob. He's an Earthling, 30k. Oh, I'm sorry.
Best character in Dragon Ball.
A
Yeah.
different fusion. A
Oh,
different
sorry.
fusion.
Well, this doesn't mean Maju. But like
That's
it's
Maju.
Maju, but they don't call it Maju. But anyways, Go Tank's Return of the Reaper of Justice.
Bro.
Vegito says hi.
We've all
Yeah.
we've been dogging on these 2 unisons because it's just a little bit hard because Architect of Peace is 2 cards in hand and an energy, or it's too hard to keep these cards on board. Bruh.
We got a 19k.
Bruh.
That's free.
You could be tapped out and your opponent's like, all right, I'm going in.
On a leader swing, so they think they're completely safe. They think it's gonna be game.
And then you just go,
Back to battle.
go Tanks.
Go
And now,
Tanks, Return of the Cock Block.
so as someone who has tested those cards pretty extensively at this point, I'd spent a lot of time with Vegeta
So we're talking
early
about
on.
the Gogeta Super Saiyan Blue from the starter deck.
What
and
is it? What's its name?
I forget the full name because you've been playing the SS3. And then there's SS3
SS3.
Gogeta Evolution. No. SS3 Gogeta Unison. We'll just say that. Both of them
Yep.
have the permanent. If your leader's a blue Saiyan and you have a blue Saiyan in rest mode, your leader takes no damage
From attacks.
from attacks. Go Tanks, activate battle. If you have a blue Unison in play, and
If
you're a
your
mono
leader
blue
is mono
Saiyan.
blue. Play it in rest mode.
Play it in rest mode.
I mean, at the very least, man, this is literally the definition of a free 19K body.
It's like Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh, fire.
Like, and it's not like
They just
if
see
you
the
don't.
Gotenks
I
and
think
they're like fire.
because it's unique, right? It's just unique. No
Yeah, it's
other
unique.
traits.
Yeah, that's it.
So, but at the very least, right? Your opponent like clears it so that way they can deal damage to you, and then you just have another one ready to go. You could just drop this on turn 2, like after your opponent swings into you, just to have another 19K all the time.
It's just a free negate.
It's so powerful. It makes your opponent actually deal with both the unison and the battle card, which gives you more time. And in blue, more time means more Obunis.
Gross.
That's literally all it means. If your opponent sinks 2 more attacks into a Gogeta to kill it, cool. That means next turn I'm gonna play an Obuni.
So this is insta include into Vegito. We're just trying to go a little quick because I know you guys are gonna talk a lot with Baby. So
You right.
final shine attack, counter attack. You probably run this in Vegeta. I probably could have put it in the Vegeta stuff
It's
because
okay.
it's a 2 counter attack. Leader's Mono Blue. You discard a card and draw 2 cards. So just like cycles. It's okay.
The issue is like going even is probably not worth having to keep 2 up as opposed to 1.
Especially in blue.
It's also 2 energy that doesn't restand and only stops 1 attack.
Exactly.
So
super combos.
Generic
Yay.
boy and that. Good names.
GTs.
Very notable. Good names.
Gogeta is a thing. Probably next set. Peep my set 12 prediction video. There's a lot of cards that say if your leader is a
Vegeta GT only.
Vegeta GT only leader.
We are getting a lot of GTs, so Gogeta GT on the way.
That means like we'll probably have a Vegeta and Goku GT leader that flips into Gogeta. Anyways, blocker, cycle, draw a card.
Finally, after 4 times of saying these aren't that great, but in blue they'll be broken. We're on the blue one.
We found it.
Play it in Vegito. Immediately replaces Jiraisin, in my opinion.
Draw a card. Do you have the unison play to draw a card?
Yep.
Yeah.
But
so
that's
it's not turn
fine.
1.
It's still a blocker.
Yeah. Still a blocker.
So...
And you awaken in Vegito. Cool. Mr. Boo. It's like our second 1-drop Mr. Boo. Vanilla 10K. 1 in red, 1 in blue.
It is.
It's not a Majin Buu though, so sad. And then the strongest Earthling. 30K, cool. Okay. Baby!
Ooh, baby.
Oh, baby. He starts with Tuffle, Planet Tuffle on board. Already. Gross. Draw 2 leader.
But blue needs it. Blue needs it, though.
Overlord Awaken side. Gross.
I wish the front side had Overlord. It would make it so much more compelling to play some of the cards in the archetype.
More than just Gohan Goten.
Yeah. Activate main. You can look for a counter card. Add it to your hand.
Notable.
And you place the bottom deck in any order. Wow. Servant deck that relies on what's at the bottom of your deck.
But a card in hand is what goes on the very bottom. And what the issue I have with this activate main is whether you grab a card or not, you have to add a card from your hand to the bottom of your deck.
If you whiff, you
no, you have to
minus
discard
1.
a card. Oh no, you do minus bottom deck.
You just minus 1, which is really bad.
Yeah, don't whiff. But wait, you can't whiff because look at this. Are we ready to move on a little bit? Can I go a little bit?
I mean, you could whiff.
No, because you got Dr. Mew and the field are probably the only non-counters in the deck outside of extra cards.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to win the game. And some of the cards that win you the game are not going to be counters.
Maybe if you see all 4 babies, but other than that, no, you do need
in baby, your card to win the game is a counter.
Unisons, Fu Shrouded.
Okay, fine, whatever. Dane whiffs everything anyways, so that's why.
I do. And top 3 is just not a lot. If it was top 5, I would do it every time.
Right. Dr. Mew created Machine Mutants. Is he also just a top 3 add a counter? Looks like it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cantrip.
Not really
But
gonna play
you're
it.
never going to play it because I'd rather just keep an energy up.
And then the
Yeah.
field that you start the game with.
Reduce the cost of mono blue counters by 1 if it's 5 or less. And then active main, which is surprisingly useful. Adding a card from your life to your hand and then bottom decking a card. It's basically like crit self awaken, which is not great, but sometimes getting to be able to awaken is more important than
Yeah.
that. So
It's also some nice filtering.
yep. When you're going for game, your hand is usually a lot of counters and like extra cards. So if you're like going for game, you just go, okay, activate and pick up a life, potentially pick up a 5k, and then bottom deck a D magic or an all too easy or something.
The field also note is a 3 cost, so you cannot arena wrecker, I believe, because he's a 1 or less.
Nope.
And then
Yep.
Only Vegeta gets rid of it.
the Vegeta from Clash of Fates.
And also OG Broly lead.
And
If
OG Broly lead. What were we thinking?
That card always rears its head somewhere. Actually, that Meta Cooler Unison, kind of pretty fire. But we'll get to that later. Some other day, maybe. Probably not. But there's another card that kills fields. I think it's the Deborah, right? In this set in green, if I remember. It's been a
But
while.
it only hits a 1-drop.
Yeah.
So
it's
it
pretty
hits
safe.
top.
Yeah. Top and whatever else 1-drop fields. There's quite a few. But
Planet Vegeta.
Planet Vampa.
Planet Vampa.
Anyway, moving on.
Babies. Look at all these babies. So they all are they're all counters. Yep, all counters. 2 of them have Overlord. It's kind of weird the super babies lose Overlord, but whatever. You guys have played a lot more of the deck, so you know more about like which ones are really good and which ones are not. So I'll let you
The 3-drop.
take it.
Like the 3-drop out of these, the 3-drop is the only one that I've really ever played, and like Overlord is completely useless on the battle cards. I think
the Diabolic Parasite, right?
You literally don't play enough There's like 7 servants in the deck. Like you're just, and they get popped half the time when you play them. So the amount of times that like you actually get to Overlord in Servant is not enough to warrant like I better get out this Overlord card so I can do it twice this turn.
No, just having your lead is enough.
That's how I felt with like the other Servant decks too. Like you're not gonna Servant in Broly. Then
Garlic is the only time where it feels like you could reasonably do it more than once.
Yeah, because he spams a lot of servants, whereas Majin Vegeta, you just kind of spam the one. You could do it twice, but yeah, the one you play is stupid.
Okay, but back to Baby.
Just point out Baby Sane Power Absorbed, which is probably the best one on the page because it is the Tournament Pack promo.
Yeah. Success to the Tuffle King is a 1 energy counterattack. It is okay, to be honest with you. Like you go and you can recur a card that you put on the bottom of your deck. But then you still have to get rid of a card, so it's not even a +1.
It's like
I think this card would have been a lot
instead of this counter.
I think it would have been a lot better without that.
Yeah, because otherwise, right now it's just a whoops. I bottom decked that card earlier. Now it turns out I need it. Like, if that's the situation you run into, just be a better player. In all honesty.
Yeah. Move on. Like it's not worth deck space to try to potentially recur it in that niche situation. Baby the Body Snatcher is just worse. Mechiorp.
It's free.
Yeah.
Mechiorp is a 15k. This is a 10k, but it has Overlord, so I guess it's cool.
Which is Mechiorp? Is that the draft box card?
Yeah.
The
mantis looking dude.
Yep.
Yeah.
Diabolical Parasite. This card's so nuts.
Yeah. This card's pretty sweet.
4-drop or less, bottom deck, and then you restand 1. So effectively, you have to have 2 up, but it's a 1 energy 4-drop counterplay, and it bottom decks. Blue has been in the terrible situation because other colors had preemptive strike, and Denial of Hope, and blue is given, you're wide open. It's a big smack in the face. And now we get to bottom deck stuff, and it's attached to a 19k body.
Which is pretty sweet. The fact that we're effectively able to do that for one, effectively.
And well, and you're playing blue too, so like having 2 up is not the issue. The issue is like if you spend that 2, what happens of it, and then you just restand it, so you're fine.
Artificial life form. What we feeling? It's a counter, doesn't negate the counter.
No,
It is the
That's the
first
problem.
blue counter we
Nope,
got.
that's the problem.
Yeah.
It doesn't negate the counter.
it's just another opportunity to play the card. So why wouldn't you just play the card?
Because they still like he would still be a 3 cost on your turn, right? With
Right.
Planet
Yeah,
Tuffle
Planet
out?
Tuffle reduces their cost at all times.
Okay.
I think that's only on the counter skill actually.
Is it? Let me read it.
When
It
activating
is
a
when
counter
activating
skill.
counter. But still, even then, just to I don't like it.
It's probably
It's
not
got 7 Vegeta syndrome. Yeah, it's cool if you like find the opportunity and your opponent actually counter like is playing using a counter play. But that situation, you can't force that situation as often as you would like.
Mhm.
So
Especially trying to hold up 3.
yeah. Card's pretty bad. Probably the worst on the page. Actually, yeah, I'll just go ahead and say it's the worst on the page.
I would agree because baby body snatchers are still free.
Body Snatcher's still free, and it's still 10k. Like before they awaken, you're only swinging with your leader and Mechie Orps. So like having a 10k, and while we ragged on the overload earlier, technically you can have more than one servant in play.
Hmm.
It does happen, but the one time a game it might happen is not worth running more of these cards.
Right.
Right.
Same power
And then
absorbed.
what? This card is so good. Why? The counterplay sucks. I'm not even gonna lie. Two energy to potentially bottom deck a 2-drop. Who cares? But
That activate
Devin, as
main.
someone who has used Max Kamehameha probably more than anyone else in Minnesota, what do you think about good free cheap removal of bigger than energy?
Oh, we're losing them.
Oh, yeah, we got Robo Devin.
Oh god.
There he is.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm good.
You're good now.
Yeah.
All right. Just that effect in general has won me a lot of games. Like even before Max Power Kamehameha, I was running Slumber Strike. Before Slumber Strike, I ran Father Son Kamehameha for a very long time. Because just being every deck is always going to try to cheat their curve and put out their boss monster. Almost every deck. And so having an effect like that is free, in addition to all of the other defense you have, is backbreaking.
Why is it free? It's so stupid.
Well, so blue doesn't have a lot of removal, which is like always been a problem with the card. Blue and yellow are notably have like no removal in comparison. But this card really solves that, and thankfully it's only for the one leader.
Yeah.
You have to have a blue baby leader to
Mhm.
get this effect, and you still lose the card. So it's not like establish it and do it. But regardless, it's a 1-for-1 card trade, and you removed a threat. And
Probably pretty big
bottom
threat.
deck is probably the second best place you can put something. Like if you bottom deck Sin, okay, draw your cards. I know you don't have another 9-drop. I didn't kill it, so it's not like you're gonna bring it right back from your 6 energy.
Exactly.
Makes a really big.
It bottom decks this. It bounces to the hand the card you're hitting.
Does it bounce to hand?
Yeah.
No way.
Yep. Negates its skills, returns it to its owner's hand.
Which is still
Oh,
versus
that's what
Sin.
it's. It
Yeah.
negates skills though.
So he doesn't
Yeah.
get the ball back and doesn't draw 2.
No, so you still hit Shenron with it. It's still huge.
They lose everything underneath it.
It also hits indestructible cards, which is also.
I was gonna say Zamasu 5 is a pretty popular card right now.
My garlic, no.
Garlic 5, yeah.
Garlic
Oh
5
no.
is pretty bad. Garlic 5 is
Anything-
hit by a
so
lot of
sad.
things, to be fair.
I know. Garlic's so
any time that you can negate skills before killing, because this has been a skill exclusive to Zeno and yellow,
bad. Yeah.
and this is really good. I think this card could have just like cost 2 and been fine, but it's free in baby, so that's that. I will only say one more thing before we move on. Blue red, like Vegeta baby, like the red leader, was already kind of a thing because of how just broken Sensu and Whis Coercion are in a deck that doesn't have a lot of defense. And now they gave us a blue baby 1-drop. Don't sleep. There's a reason that chain is still broken. If you can turn 1, go into playing, or turn 2, go into a 6-drop ape, you gotta do it.
With beans available.
Oh yeah.
Oof. All right. Uncommons. We got our first servants. Goten, Baby's Minion. I think they're all called Baby's Minions. But they're
Yeah.
also both counterplays. And they're both servants. One's
Devin.
a 2, one's a 1. With
I really like Goten. I am a huge fan of Goten.
See, and I'm not, because I'd rather restand the 1 than have a servant. Personally.
I mean, it's still a 2-drop 20k that time walks your opponent. So
How does it time lock your opponent?
they're trying to play a card. You put it back in their hand, and you have established a 20k on board.
Bottom deck it.
Bottom deck it. So it's pretty huge.
I think I would just rather play Baby's Parasite every time. But I understand why you might do this. I would just rather keep the 1-up, so that way on turn 2 you can Baby and still have D-Magic or Becky or Plive. Whereas Goten, you're not going to play it till minimum turn 3, and turn 3 you'd probably rather play Gohan.
fair.
If that makes sense. Like, I just don't know I don't know what turns this is better than Vegeta Baby.
I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying it's another great option.
I agree.
They're both brainwash. Does that matter for the brainwash? Red. It's only the red yellow. That's a red yellow card, isn't it?
It is. You could technically choose up to 4 brainwashed cards. So.
It doesn't specify color, but
So,
you're
I
not
don't see why you'd want to
Yeah,
play these
no,
though.
never mind then. So that, like, if you want to be really weird and crazy, there's an option. So at least they kept the brainwash tag then.
Well, I
just
mean,
lose it.
anytime you can put, not future proof, but like future ready. Is that the right term? Is that the word we're gonna
guess
coin?
so.
Yeah,
Sure.
they're leaving that design space open.
Like
There we
Bardock's
go.
crew.
Devin's the smartest. Listen to that vernacular.
Well,
Design
I've done a lot of research on set design with Magic through the years, so.
Mm-hmm.
Bardock's crew got their thing going, so why not brainwash?
Wait. Devin or Dom, you missed a card.
Well, I did.
We're gonna let you go grab it while we discuss Golden Revenge. You forgot the negate from the tournament pack. But Devin, you want to take Golden Revenge?
There's a negate in the tournament pack.
Golden Revenge is interesting. 1 energy counter. It's effectively 1 energy counter attack. Leader card is Blue Baby. Negate the attack. Choose one of your mono blue battle cards with counter. Return it to your hand. It reuses a counter skill for 1, which is all right.
Well, so and you can tell me if you disagree with this. I think it is counterintuitive with how the deck comes in set, but not necessarily in total. I think in particular, this card is great to bounce back UI Goku, and then if it could bounce back hit, but hit can't be returned.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to bounce back your servants, and if you hid the Overlord cards, you don't want to bounce those back because they're Overlords. So the card is just kind of meh.
Meh. I would agree with that.
If set 10 format, oh, for sure. Because there's already like less negates, so just running this card to have it is good. I wonder if Dom got it. Maybe he's putting it on the next page. Where's he putting it? Where's he gonna put it?
I'm working on it.
He's working on it. Is he gonna mid? Is the magic gonna be ruined for the viewing pleasure?
No. That's what mobile's for.
We can just talk about like these. Like Bulma is like Goten, like you said, is another option. I still don't see a time when we'll play it over baby, but if someone includes it and they make the argument that they like to draw the card and have the 20k body, sure. We saw Bulma here in the form of Dodoria last set as a rare, and that card saw effectively 0 play.
Yeah.
And it has really good tags. Being a green Frieza's Army is some of the best tags you can have in the game. And it doesn't see any play. I don't think this one will either. Granted, this one's connected at least to a lethal body, 15k, and then you can draw a card. But
All right,
there's just no way.
we good.
We're going to the next set. Oh, he made it smaller.
Oh wait, it's not on mine. Oh wait.
You should have just made it its own slide because it's a mistake. Bandai, this was a mistake. Bandai didn't learn their lesson with Power Burst and
All
how
right,
powerful.
we're good. I'll just cut that out in the video.
You don't have to cut anything out; just leave it all in. So
The
Gohan.
rares. Yes.
What? Why do we have Topo in blue?
It's pretty good.
Again,
It's not
that
at-
same wording. The quick text probably because this is probably the reason because this card has so much text on it.
Because every card explains servant.
Yeah, because it's the first set
Negate
with
play
servant.
It's just not as good as Topo. It still like discourages swings,
Mhm.
but Topo says outright no.
Mhm.
Because of the way Baby is designed, other than this new card that we'll get to in a second, every time that you negate an attack, you are going -1 in hand. So your opponent, who probably has drawn more cards than you just given the nature of other decks versus Baby, will swing, bottom deck 1 card, and then you will also still have to lose a card in hand to negate, if that's what you're planning to do. Or to combo out is 1 card in hand. It also lets your opponent not care about not swinging with their leader first, because you can still just cycle with your leader swing and apply pressure.
For leaders that actually draw cards, yes.
Plus
On the
25
back.
body's pretty good.
Yes,
25 body for 2 is pretty good, yes.
Yeah.
that is probably one of the strongest aspects of the card. Devin, how do you feel about Bulla?
What's
Do you
her
think that
power? I
she
covered the
should remain-
power. I think she
she's
goes up
she's
to
a 5k.
So
She's
she's
a
a
5k,
5K.
becomes a 15.
So she's a 1-drop 15k, which if you compare it to like
Mechiorp, who's free.
well,
But she draws a card, and I think that's probably
she draws-
where.
no.
Yeah,
No.
'cause she's servant.
She has
Oh, yeah,
servant.
servant, yeah,
so
yeah, yeah. So
it's
I guess.
pseudo draws a card.
Because they also
Pseudo,
compare it to Master Roshi negates and Videl, like they're all just 4Ks.
Like,
So
and
this
so
one
I
has
think
oomph.
she has a purpose. This deck also has a notoriously terrible time trying to deal with unisons on decks that like where the unison is the game plan. And she's 15. I think eventually she'll get settled at a 3 of. But
I think it's good against early aggro. Like you can clear a board or unison, like you said, pretty early, and like basically a free negate.
yeah, well, use of her is going to be really important. So like when I'm planning out my early turn, especially turn 1, it's optimal to write like Mechiorp and then Bulla, and so you have to be able to assess how many attacks your opponent has.
Right. Like let's say you're against Vegix.
Oh boy, you never know how many attacks
And
are
they
coming with that deck.
hit the God Mill.
And they hit the God Mill. Mechiorp, D-Magic Bulla.
D
That's
Magic
turn
Bulla?
1.
Oh, because you still get the energy. Yeah. And
Just
then
even if it's
and now
energy,
you
it's still
have
risky to get.
3 swings against your opponent's Gotenks unison.
Yep.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
I thought, and I think Devin was in the same boat. I thought Saiyan Slayer was going to be a really big part of the deck and the archetype, and I have cut it out completely.
Still not certain. I think that it has a place. I just haven't figured it out yet.
In
Counterattack,
theory,
play. Counter, just play. For 3. Double strike,
For
20k is not bad.
in theory, there is a lot this card does because it means at the end of the game, you could just play the 5-drop ape for free.
Yes. And
You
that's
could just
where
play UI Goku for free.
that's where inclusion of this card all comes down to: do you want to play good blue cards, or do you want an engine that may brick or may just win you the game outright? And that's where this card comes in. Is if you think that you're lucky, if you think that you'll be able to survive to set it up, you can do this. It's hard to pull off because of being able to play him and protect him is rough. But
I think this is the prime card. I don't think this is a deflect card. I think this is a barrier card.
yes, I would agree with that.
This card desperately wanted barrier over double strike. And I get the idea they wanted, like, oh, it's another way for you to deal with unisons. Here you go. Here's a 20k double strike. But on a card with a turn over turn plus engine, if you will, you want to be able to use that, but you can't because green will just freeze it, and then red will just kill it, and then blue and yellow are kind of the cards that you might actually get to use it.
Fair.
Um,
I don't see it doing too much.
Cool. Can we talk about the elephant in the room?
So this is the card I forgot. I thought there's only 3. I don't know how I forgot this card.
Just gonna go ahead and cover up the rest of the cards because they honestly don't matter.
Yeah, it's from the tournament pack again. This just a little if you don't know, the tournament pack is pretty solid in set 11 compared to set 10. It's insane. So, do you
All
like
right.
having your own dimension magic for baby? Well,
Yeah,
here's the card for you.
I heard you like drawing cards.
Listen. All I'm saying is the D Magic was already the best the game. And now there's D Magic that draws a card
Draws. So dumb.
for nothing. It's
So,
not like you have to
this
like
card
filter.
literally just replaces itself and your energy.
It more than replaces your energy. It
Reinforces,
resets
yeah,
Yeah,
because
you get that energy and draw a
it's a
card.
boost.
because you have Planet Tuffle is a 1.
And then you resand 2,
You resand 2.
and then you draw a card.
That's it. We can go home. Pack it up. That's the card right there.
Legitimate question.
Yes.
What is the purpose of it actually costing 2?
Because
Because right now it is restricted to a blue baby lead, of which right now we have 1, and that baby
Maybe-
lead puts out Planet
if
Tuffle.
you do kill
Maybe
Tuffle,
someone
I guess.
doesn't. Yeah, I guess if you kill Planet Tuffle.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're playing against 4-drop. No, is it still 1 or 2? The Vegeta. You're playing against the Vegeta and you didn't counterplay it, and he pops the Planet Tuffle. Or Broly just said you have no cards on board. Kill it.
Mm-hmm.
There's other ways to kill a field on board. That's like very weird, but still. No, wait. It's too much work. It's too much work. Zeno.
The point is
So much
that
work.
it doesn't matter because they gave you copies 5 through 8 of D Magic that draw you a card. We've already seen how powerful Power Burst was before it grabbed a pseudo super combo. When it was just grabbing 0.5Ks, it was like still the second best sparking negate.
Or even 0-0 with the negate Goku. Like 2
Yeah.
negates.
But this card just draws you a new card.
Alright, so everyone get your play sets when they come out. That's
Yeah,
it.
good luck.
Yeah,
Good luck. Good
yeah,
luck.
with how tournaments are. Hopefully older like set 10, 11 tournament packs will see a lot of like when they hand out older tournament packs randomly, like they do sometimes. We get a bunch of these hopefully.
Mhm.
If it's not too late.
Um,
You guys ready for the big monkey?
yeah. I have played this, and I have played against it when Devin was piloting my baby. This is maybe the strongest set of uninteractivity in the entire game.
This looks so much worse than just double strike Mira battering laser, because it basically is, but more
Double strike battering laser. It's more.
with a triple strike backup plan for battery on your battering laser. It's basically your battering laser just says you get a big monkey that wins you the game if this doesn't win you the game. So the baby,
Devin,
this is like the
Devin
latest we say the
triple
unison card.
countered me in one game.
Ugh, gross.
I was trying to not die, and I was apparently mistaken in believing that I could not die. I
So,
actually think I think I survived because I was playing Prison Frieza and I have a leader negate,
Yeah.
but
that's
like
cheating.
Killed all my babies.
So
that's the fact. The fact is that I burned like 4 cards, and
and you had to
he
be a
still like
very
established.
niche leader effect.
Yeah, exactly right. 2 leaders in the game have an auto, or 3 leaders in the game
Yeah,
have an
3.
auto that negate an attack.
Yep. Gross. So
So
baby, this is baby Trunks.
looks
+2
cool.
draw a card. That's cool in this deck. You need a bit more draw power. That's nice. But
Yeah,
that -5, you literally you just drop this on turn 5 and win the game.
yeah. It's there's almost never a point where you want to play this for 3. There are times, right? Like we said when we were playing Prison Frieza,
There was a
Devin
time
had the
because
ability.
yeah,
I only had a leader swing and a unison swing, and so he played it for 4 +2'd and then negated one of the attacks. So he's still at 5 for
So
the
you
next
got to
turn.
live also when you -5.
Yeah.
Ew.
yep.
Like, and so that it does have its times, but if you drop this on 3, you're gonna die or you're gonna lose it.
Hmm.
And I don't think this deck actually runs Trunks. If it does, it runs it in the sideboard at like 2 for like cards that need to be answered. That have
Specifically because part of Trunks is you can't counterplay the rest of the turn,
Right.
which is
Which
rough.
totally goes against the whole rest of the deck. Plus,
because
I don't think you're running. Are you really running unisons outside of this one? Like, are you
nope.
dropping unisons at all? Because you just
There's
want
a
to.
No.
there's a lot of cards you have to fit in the deck, so that way you're prepared for each situation. And since your only bodies are based off of negates, you have to run those as well.
So you want your energy up just then to keep negating because you don't have any like free negates.
Well, you do,
Well,
but you have to
free like 0
you can't be
energy
tapped
negates.
out. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't be tapped out.
So this -5, if your leader's mono blue, it gets 15k and double strike for the turn. So this is even great. Zamasu can like just drop
Mm,
this.
turn 4.
Yeah, use Zeno.
Mm,
Zeno
mm.
+1 energy, drop this, pop the Zeno energy with your Zamasu lead, gain dual attack. Dual attack, 30k double strike, draw a card per
Double.
swing, and
Yeah.
your counters only cost 2 cards in hand to play now.
Which is Zamasu actually has the card advantage to do that, unlike Baby.
But baby, you're
I
also
did it
should like
once.
just win the game too.
Yeah, well, and it's very good still. Baby is still just in a position where if you don't kill them, they can do this, and then your opponent can also play around it. Baby doesn't apply enough pressure that your opponent's going to necessarily feel like they have to negate the 30k double strike. They might be able to go, oh, that's fine, whatever, I'll take it, or combo out. So you might not necessarily get to play Baby Golden Avenger until the counterplay is going on, rather than the counter.
Hmm.
But it's still so good.
Can we just have about Golden Avenger quick? How it's a triple strike, negate the counter, and play this card.
Yeah.
So dumb. And it has an
For
auto.
2 cards in hand, for 2 cards in hand, you stop their negate, you get a 30k triple strike, and you draw a card, and you ignore bottom deck of battle card ignoring barrier.
So this even like gets rid of Vegito. Because it also has that counterplay effect too. Like if Vegito like does that Go Tanks play of like play a guy in rest mode, you just counterplay it.
Yep.
Oh, I guess I can still do it again because it's back in hand.
This card is
Never mind. But you can pop it.
This card's so yeah. You would just choose not to. I guess, but you couldn't really do that. No, because then
Yeah, never
yeah,
mind.
you
Never mind.
timing on the auto. Either way, when Devin played this on me, it felt hopeless. It felt really, really bad. And I can't imagine like when the baby list is mastered or when Zamasu adopts this into the list. That's gonna feel really, really tough to deal with.
What if they make the secret rare counter card?
No,
Oh,
I don't think they will.
imagine. Imagine.
No, that would just make me upset to be honest. Yeah, because blue's biggest issue is that it doesn't have a generic one.
Oh, you're right.
We need a really generic blue SR. So Bandai, I know you're not listening, and I know you designed the card 4.5 months ago, but
That's fair.
please.
Now, my big question. Would we see like this combo, like basically like the Mira Champa for blue now, like in every blue deck?
Not every blue deck, but I think
Majority of blue
anytime
decks?
a blue deck comes out, they'll look at it. You'll
'Cause
ask yourself, is it worth running a 3/3 line of baby and baby?
like as soon as you draw the unison and this ape, and then you're blue, so you can probably easily hit
Good
turn
to go for
5,
game.
and you just go for game.
Like, because neither of these cards are leader specific, other than just unison checks for mono blue.
Right, exactly. I think that's it. Yeah.
So this could actually replace the sign engine for the generic win con for blue.
And I think it basically will, because as is, the sign engine is what, seven or six or seven cards, and they're all 10Ks. You could drop that to being 3 10Ks and 3 dead cards to get a much stronger way to finish the game.
Right. Worst case, this is a 3-cost unison that draws a card. And the
Which is
15 swing.
it's a plus, yeah, and it's a plus
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to remove.
Pretty
And
good.
honestly, I can see this baby even replacing Soul Striker's go-to unison.
Because
Oh.
like, why wouldn't you just
Draw a card.
draw a card? Like, yeah, Goku
Yeah.
Black filters, but like you could just draw a card and it's plus 2, so you're less likely to remove it. Meaning Trunks is online for longer, and if your opponent doesn't keep it at the -5, well, you know, Devin's build in particular is a Janemba into hit and UI Goku build rather than like Obuni build. So
Oh, I can see
I'd
it.
still probably play Janemba, but I'm probably going to be dropping the Path to the Infinite sign for just Golden Avenger baby.
Yeah, because you
just
can straight up
3/3.
just play Golden Avenger on your opponent's turn then, can't you? If you
Yeah.
wanted to.
I could totally set that up.
Gross. Okay. So I guess we've seen every color now. And now we got a peek at tournament packs already. I think the only thing missing is the secret rares and the premium booster, which is is it a Sin Shenron?
We think it's a sum of one negative energy dragon.
No, there's a picture of it.
I saw the silhouette. I haven't seen an actual
No.
picture.
It's there's like an actual picture of the card on
Oh.
the premium pack.
Before we move on to speculation of other colors, let's finish out the talk about blue.
Well,
Devin, tell me how strong you think Vegeta is and how strong Baby is. Tell me you think the strongest and the weakest point of each deck, and then how you would rate them.
So with Vegeta, I really like how openly generic the lead is at its core. Obviously, there's an engine designed around it, but the lead doesn't need it. The lead can just work with any mono blue deck, which I really enjoy. Ramping has in the past always been somewhere in the meta, maybe not always at the top, but it has always been a deck to beat. I think that Vegeta offers a very fair way to play it and can definitely apply the fact that it applies pressure while ramping without losing any real card advantage is awesome. But I would say that its biggest downfall is blockers. it doesn't matter how big your leader is if they just block your attack. Like if you're going against a Vegeta who's going to be playing a blocker turn 1 most games, you're just not going to ramp against that leader like ever, which is really rough.
So you have to have an alternate game plan, do you think?
Yes, I think that if you want to take Vegeta GT to competitive, you should have an alternate game plan that relies on you never ramping a card.
So what you're saying is Zeno Abuni.
Yeah, that is the unfortunate truth.
Or you gotta play some loaded ground stuff or some kind of.
You're playing
Doesn't
blue,
blue
Dom.
doesn't
Dom,
blue have a lot
Dom,
of? Yeah, I know.
Dom.
Doesn't blue have
Dom,
blocker
let
removal?
the blue players talk about this one.
No, I thought they
It's,
had a
it's
blocker
Zeno
removal.
Abuni. It's Zeno Abuni.
There's some old set blocker hate stuff that may show up for.
There's a lot of cards that hit everything but blocker.
Oh, you're right. I'm thinking they had the Mass Saiyan.
The game was very generous to blockers for a long time. And
But
unfortunately,
now,
our blockers have only gotten better.
like, blockers have gotten better, but over time, because the amount of removal and what I like to call accidental removal, where you're doing something and also removing something, like, there's no reason that, the baby that is a 5-drop red minus is 5 a card. There's no reason Grim Reaper blows up a card for
No.
green Gotenks, but it does. And so that's what I call accidental removals. You didn't have
Like-
the intention of I need to remove this. You had the intention of I'm going to advance my game state. Oh yeah, and I guess I get to kill a card.
Yeah, and like even with that, and the thing is about cards like that is even without the KO card, the card is still perfectly playable without that effect. So the fact that that's on there is just extra. And so decks like Gotenks will excel against decks they're trying to build a board to protect their lead rather than Vegeta, who's just basically running into a wall.
Like baby.
But then yes, like baby. Vegeta is never going to hit baby, not once. At least if the baby player knows what they're doing.
Except maybe the backside. But then that's just them having to use another counter.
That's just one more negate.
Yeah.
And now we have 8D magics.
So would the counter to that be playing? Was it West? Is it East Kai keeping watch, or West Kai? East Kai.
East Kai
Where your
is
opponent
playing
plays
cards
cards.
during your
Yeah.
turn.
Yep.
Yep.
They would have to warp
Bottom
and,
deck one.
or hand control.
Bottom deck one.
Yeah,
right?
bottom deck one. A hand. Card in hand.
Which is good. Does she
And
have
Koitsukai.
barrier?
She doesn't have any protection whatsoever. She has a 1-drop 4K,
But she can't trip, so
Yeah.
but she draws a card on play. So
And-
at worst, you are filtering a card for 1 blue.
I think Koitsukai.
At worst.
and Koitsukai. Koitsukai, I think, will get banned solely because of baby.
Yes,
I
I
can
would
see
agree with
it.
that.
Um,
Because Koitsukai just says baby doesn't get to play the game during my turn.
I am in full agreement. I, as someone who loves the competitive aspect and really not only just like the competitive, how do I be the best? I love playing decks that force you to be a good player. I have long said, I played in terms of like high meta decks. I've played some brain dead stuff, but I went from Toa to Surge Broly to Dredgeku, where if you don't pilot those decks excellently, the deck falls apart. And I really love that Vegeta is another deck that will show that, and it will allow players to express skills in really unique ways, because your ability to assess what your opponent can do the next turn, when it isn't okay to ramp, when you need to actually combo out, how you defend the leader swing right, if you're like sideboarding cards that are, like Devin said, blockers or detrimental. So like if you know that you're playing, if Vegeta's going to be in the meta, sideboard more blockers. Your opponent can't deal damage. Your opponent's not going to restand their leader.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Baby's really good. Like Baby is super good, except that there are matchups it will just lose.
Which is fine.
I'm really close to agreeing with you.
I think a red
Like
aggro
they
list.
are.
We need
could
a
just
health.
run over Baby.
It's a healthy meta. Like you can't just have a deck that just like has no checks.
No, but this is not. This is probably the most extreme cannot beat X deck that we've seen in many formats. Baby will not and cannot beat Shingenron.
No.
Baby cannot and will not beat Invoker.
No.
It cannot answer these decks, and that makes it a problem because it's the same thing that Janemba has, where it doesn't matter how popular it is. If there is a matchup that you sit down and it doesn't matter how good versus bad the other person is, you're just gonna lose.
Wait, why doesn't it beat Sin now with that new card?
You still just can't, like, even with that new card,
what
you could
happened-
have all of them in your hand every time.
Oh, blocker.
Every time they
So-
put out a 9-drop, but it won't be enough.
You deal 1 damage a turn. Let's be clear on that. Your opponent will take the very first swing, and then you will not touch them again because they will put out the 9-drop baby or the 9-drop Sin. And if you don't see the baby right away to get rid of it, or you don't run it at 4, but running it at 4 is a waste because then in other matchups it's not useful. So if you don't see it immediately, then they block your like Mechiorps, and if they use Zarbons, then they block it and kill more Mechiorps and Gohans and Bolas. And so realistically, by the time you get to turn 5, you've dealt 3 damage to them. You can't win the game from 5 life when there's a Mechi Gabor on the board.
And then they just pay 6, reset their board every turn.
And so and then the thought process right there is, okay, well, the counterplay is to just play Baby, Golden Avenger. Play this card, return the 7 or less. But it still plays the 9-drop, which still usually means that cells that, will be able to come out. If they don't, like if they have 2 of them out already. But it also is still pay 6 to draw 5. Okay. You're still going to lose. Baby doesn't have a lot of numbers. They play a lot of negates.
And you just gave them a handful of 5Ks.
Yep. Hopefully that explains that, Dom. And then I think Invoker's pretty obvious. It's a race to turn 5, but Baby didn't deal damage because Invoker's a 15k, and if they just don't pick up life, they can't lose.
There's a lot of talks. I've seen a lot of people talk about like Cat Blow getting hit. But then even then, Apex will just win the game.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think that if right now my biggest problem with Catablow is that of how uninteractive it is, and that if your leader needs to be at 4 life to awaken, you just can't win against Invoker.
Mm-hmm. Unless you're like a hyper aggro deck.
Right, but like most of these leaders that we're seeing, like all of these leaders that we've seen that have done like well competitively, have alternate ways of awakening, and that leave them above 4 life.
Okay.
Like Dredgeku. Dredgeku doesn't even can stay at 8 life. Completely fine. Doesn't even go down to 6. Just stays at 8. Gotenks, but otherwise leaders like Gotenks who pull yourself down to 6.
That's even still dangerous because they still get cat
right.
load.
Because then they just need to hit you once and they can catablow you the rest of the way.
True.
Or they can attempt to play a slow game against you and just catablow you over the course of a few turns, leaving a 6-drop on the board. And that's still deadly.
Well, all right. So we'll see. I think it'll still be like played a lot, and then people may figure out ways around that stuff. Plus, ban list comes out fairly soon.
What I think is going to bode well is how affordable it's going to be.
Yeah, you only need 2 super rares. This is the only super rares you need.
No hashtag free sell. That is a terrible idea. I do not care that there are more counterplays now. That is a really bad idea.
Well, we'll see. Now we saw every color, and I looked, and it's in the premium pack, you get 2 Gogeta BRs that has a keyword, an auto, and an activate something that costs 1 red, and it looks like a 0.5k. It's a 3 cost battle card. So red's getting 1 more promo, and I think we just that's it. And the secret rares is the only cards we need to see now.
Mm-hmm.
So what
if you guys had,
if
you have to, I was gonna say, are we like ranking them real quick?
Yeah. I'd say let's rank them quick. What are we thinking? Out of set 11.
Green, blue, yellow, and red are really close, but I think I'm gonna give a slight edge to yellow.
Like Icarus that much,
and then black.
Dude, it's so much better. It beats Invoker, it beats Baby, it has so many good matchups. I was really shocked, and it just keeps getting better. There are like moments where I'm like, oh, this kind of sucks. but the amount, like, it just can't really deal with Vegex, and that's kind of like it.
What about
It
sideboards though? Like people can side in uh unexpected turn. I feel like that card is gonna be such a big
I
card
Yes.
next
don't
format.
I don't play 2 cards above 2.
Oh, you're right.
Unexpected
Is it
will only warp me if I have more cards, but I
is it
don't.
two? Oh,
I have
it's
one
four
drop.
cards, two or more, and everything
Yeah,
four or
so they
less,
won't
and the
ever they
card.
won't ever be able to get that card
I
off.
keep forgetting that wording's weird. Either way, that's really good
So
against AOD.
yeah.
Keep that in mind.
Um I think green is the obvious winner. If you've like actually tested with the set at all. Gotenks is stupid.
And super budget.
It's super like it's stupid. Um and the craziest part is like Celzino and Ribrienne will sweeten the deck and like bring it to the top competitive level, but they are by no means needed to win or even top an event because of how much value Grim Reaper of Justice and even the 5-drop super rare from the set give you. They bleed value.
Yep.
And all the other cards in the deck just work so well together. Majin Vegeta is really fast. The
It's
leader
so
is
aggro.
just generic enough. The leader is just generic enough to like if you run the Dark Broly like intended engine with the Majin Buu balls, that's gonna do well. But if you also just run good green stuff plus the Servant 3-drop Vegeta, that will also do well.
Yeah, it can either go really fast or just like choke you out with like just threat on the board and everything, swings and all
Um,
that.
yeah, I mean, I know Devin has played against Gotenks once or twice. I don't think he's
Yep.
played against Vegeta much though.
No, I have looked at the cards. They look very fun.
They are very fun.
They go fast. Double strike 15k on your leader on turn 1 is not
So
okay.
green, blue cause baby, and then also Vegeta has a chance.
Well, we had
Yellow.
15k. We had a 15k crit on lead on turn 1, but
That deck saw
That
no play. It's
there, I
funny.
mean, there are multiple leaders that do that, and they're
Yeah.
still seeing play.
yeah, that's true.
Red.
Double strike is just more important now because of unisons.
Red. We'll see. I feel like that one just needs more
Gogeta
play.
six
Gogeta's
is
good.
Gogeta's well, but see the thing is that I don't even think Gogeta's good. I just think that Gogeta 6 is good.
Yes.
I think all the other cards in that deck are really like kind of okay. The unison's fine, but then like Gogeta 6 is better 6-drop baby.
And then Broly. I think Broly's pretty good. It's fun. Broly's really fun. And
Broly is really
then
fun.
it has a chance, depending on what that new tournament back card that came out. It has another early swap card,
Another.
and that gives you Ba on play. You
It
just get
mostly
Ba.
importantly, yeah, most importantly, it just lets you do the chain twice in a turn.
Yes, which is huge. Which is where I feel
Um,
the deck really shines right there. Because, yeah.
the 4-drop
Um,
does a lot of work.
Yellow, the Skillless Gohan's basically carrying yellow. So that I would actually put yellow below red just because Skillless Gohan is the only thing carrying that color.
Oh, I can concede to that.
Yeah, because garlic is just
Oh wait, we forgot about black.
yeah, I know black.
Below, mm, Dark Broly is probably so much better than I imagine it is
It probably is. It does a lot of swings
for
consecutively for
30k.
It's
30k.
fun. It's fun.
Yeah, I
I've
think
played 2 games with it, and
yeah,
even without the S, I played a game with the SR and without the SR. The SR doesn't actually add a whole lot of value to the deck, in all
We
honesty.
were talking about that. We think that the rare is the strongest one.
yeah. The
Yes,
rare should have been the
Warping a
100%
SR.
agree.
card out of hand and then getting rid of a card in their drop area is much stronger than just one battle card.
100% agree.
Yeah. So I put black because I feel like people need to like mess with it and relearn old black playstyle of overwhelming, and maybe Toki Toki City can be busted now.
Oh
I still don't like Toki Toki. Toki Toki City's better when you could overwhelm twice a turn.
That then you got
yeah,
the meager wormhole.
Yeah. So if Demigra with Toki Toki shows up, sure. But the thing is, if you're playing Demigra, you're going to want to be Dark Overwhelming, which doesn't
No,
trigger
you can
Toki Toki.
play the Demigra that has Overwhelm on the battle card.
I
What do you
mean,
mean from hole?
no, no. There's zero reason to do that. I would not do that. The card's so
Yeah.
bad.
I think black just needs a lot more dedicated focus, like testing, to
Well, so
figure
here's
that
what
out.
here's my argument. I'll say black is better than blue, if only because baby has auto losses. And even if I think blue's peaks are quite a bit higher than black, or at least set 11 black, I cannot, especially as a competitive player, I am not willing to bring a deck like baby to a high level tournament without knowing the meta explicitly.
Right.
If there is a 5% chance of running into an auto loss matchup, it is not worth bringing.
Whereas all of the black decks are pretty aggro, and I've heard that if there's an aggro deck in the format, you should probably be playing it.
I wonder who could have said that.
Well,
But yeah,
I wouldn't call the new Overwhelm sub pretty aggro. It's just kind of value.
the SS4 Gohan engine can
Might
bump
I
up some numbers.
recommend 2 double strike a lot crits
Yeah,
in one turn?
yeah.
Okay,
Trunks.
yeah, crack.
Tag team Trunks into a lead swing with crack.
Yeah, okay. It's
And
fairly
you
aggro.
have, as of now, you have
That's only
Bibby.
one energy for that whole play. I want to
And
make
then
that clear.
the Dark Broly free plays a bunch of stuff.
Free
Yeah.
plays 30Ks.
30Ks. Yeah, it's pretty good.
So you can save your energy for your plus 15k beans.
Or your weird devil man
Is that-
negates.
Is that a consensus for everyone then? So then green far ahead, and then black, and then a slight dip to blue, and then another substantial drop. Red, yellow?
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Red being pretty.
Sorry, Gohan.
Yeah.
Garlic really just
No,
dragging you down.
Garlic is really dragging Gohan down. But I really
Yeah.
think that Gohan has
Gohan-
more potential in the meta than
Yeah.
Red does.
I think let's do, because we're getting onto it for a long time now. Let's do after the secret rares come out and the rest of the promos, because I think tomorrow is the winner card arts, and then
Mhm.
Friday will probably be the
Secret rare number 1?
premium booster and whatever.
Premium boost.
I don't think there's any other
Is that-
promos though.
Yeah.
No, because this is 18 right here. That's a lot.
They could do secret rare number 1, and then like next week secret rare number 2. Well, that's such a long time in between secret rare one card reveals.
No, for secret rares they usually do it 3 days in a row.
Yeah, so maybe let's do next week. Let's just like tier up the set 11 decks.
Full tier list time, baby.
Oh yeah, we haven't done one yet. I feel like it would be pretty fun. Definitely this set because everything's very archetypical. know.
It'll lead to it'll lead to an interesting ideology to see if you think peaks or consistency are more important.
Or maybe I'll
Because
figure out how to do like
peak baby is
yeah,
uninteractive deck.
yeah.
But low point baby, cat blow you for 7. Cool, good game.
Same with Vegeta. Okay. Well, let's end it there. I think we're almost 2 hours since we wanted to start, so I figured this one would be longer. Plus, end of the core set.
It was just such a good. This is at least the most fun and unique color of the set, if nothing else.
Yeah, compared to its last set.
It leaves deck building very open. Make your toolbox how you want it, and hope that your toolbox is able to handle whatever problem is in front of you.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Devin, for coming on.
Yeah, not a problem. Thanks for having me.
You offer a lot of really good insight into, especially in control-based ones. So I always appreciate when you come on for that.
Thanks. Yeah, it's fun to be here.
All right, so that has been Northstarball. Thanks for hanging out. If you're here, if you're watching YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, all that. Which is your favorite color of the set so far?
Make sure you're ringing that bell.
Oh yeah, ring that bell. Don't worry, we'll do other stuff soon than just these long podcast stuff. more deck reviews and stuff. Just
We can.
it's just more fun to do it at a locals than doing like, hey, this is my DBS deck where
Uh huh.
I just talk to a screen. All right.